All right, welcome to Tile Coach. I'm Isaac Ostroms. Today we are putting in a tileable grate from Schluter. It's their Schluter Kerdi Line. If you want to see how we got up to this point, how we got everything ready, how we got the Dietrich heat down, how we got the Kerdi membrane waterproofing, how we got the Ardex 8+9, I'm going to put that link up so you can see it, how we got to this point. But today what we're going to do is actually put the tile onto the tileable grates. So what we have here, we got everything set, and the way that we got our spacing correct, Schluter gives you these little spacers. I think they give you 3 per drain. So we actually have 2 line drains. We got this huge double line drain in here. So they give you these spacers so that you can put them in and you can tile right up to it. You see, it's really nice. That way you get your perfect consistency. And what Schluter wants is they actually want a 3/16 gap in between your floor tile and the tile that goes on your tileable grate. So they want 3/16. That's going to allow water to pour down in there, and it's also going to allow our drain key. So this is the drain key that we use to pull up the grates, because for regular maintenance and cleaning, you have to be able to pull these grates out, especially with women's hair getting in there. I don't really need it, but you know, if you get hair in here, you got to be able to pull this up, and you want to be able to clean it, and then you have to clean out the little hair catchers that they put in their drains. So we'll pull these grates out. You can see right here what we did is we used our Ardex 8+9, which is really nice. Again, if we were to just go with Kerdi, to me it's just a little bit sketchy. I love putting the Ardex 8+9 over the Kerdi, especially at a point like this. I mean, this is really durable. I always talk about this Ardex 8+9 reminds me of like a truck bed liner, a spray-on bed liner. Really durable, really tough, because this is going to stay this way. This isn't going to get covered. The tile just sat right on here. The tileable grate's going to go right into the wall. So we'll get both of our grates out, and we'll get the tile on them. We got our thinset mortar. We got all of our tiles pre-cut. And the first thing I like to do is get a bonding coat onto the line drain itself. Burn that thinset in there so that we got a good mechanical bond. Even though I'm using a modified thinset here, I still want that good mechanical bond against the Kerdi fleece. Because believe it or not, these line drains, it's not a stationary object, so it's going to be getting pulled up and moved, set down. These tiles need to be bonded really well. So now I'm going to put it back in here. So I'm going to set it where it goes. Now what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to get the height correct on the drain. So I'm going to start with actually what I'm going to start with is we have this center piece here. And we might have been able to cantilever, because you can cantilever over the edge of the tileable grate, meaning that your tile can hang over. It doesn't need to be flush with the edge. You can cantilever over, but this distance would be just a little too far, and I would be afraid, you know, as they pick it up to clean it, they set it down, it chips, then you're into a pain in the butt. So we're actually going to use this piece right here kind of as the connector piece. Remember, we want as close to 100% coverage as possible. Don't want any air pockets in our shower floor. And ideally you would probably, so on the edges, this one we couldn't really slope one way or another. We could have split the joint and had it like a tent sloping down, but I thought that would have looked funky. on our side pieces, we actually have these sloping down into the drain in the corner. But this one's just going to be level here. I like to keep the stainless steel channel as clean as possible. Really take your time with this step. A lot of people kind of rush this. This is a really important step to get everything where you want it. Okay, so this one is going to be kind of tricky to get not only enough elevation for our buildup, but also to ensure 100% coverage. That's the hard part about using large tiles in a shower floor, is that it's a lot more difficult to get 100% coverage. Small tile, it's pretty easy. Larger tiles, because you're building them up. So I'm kind of guessing about the amount of thinset. I don't want to put too much because it'll just goop all in that channel. So I'm trying to be consistent with the amount of thinset I got on here. And also we're going to be cantilevered over off of the edge, so the back side, I'm actually going to take some of that off. And what we can do here, probably what would be best to do with this one actually, is to use a little bit less thinset and then come in tomorrow after it's cured, pull the grate, and then we can fill in wherever we need to fill in. But I'm going to get it as close as I can here. Because as you can see, I don't want to get thinset into my channel. You can see in here, actually already did get a little thinset in there, so I'm going to pull up. Because I want this channel to be real clean. And again, tomorrow, it could be cleaned out tomorrow. And I'm doing my best to keep this metal side of the grate clean and any of my stainless steel channel, because it'll make it a lot easier to clean. See, I got thinset on it. So I'm going to put that back in now. Get it down where it's supposed to go. And then so that's probably too much thinset, but it's a good little indicator of where I need to be. See, we're up too high. I'm going to use my drain key to pull it up again. And you can see I got thinset in that channel again. And so I'm going to knock this down. It looked like I was about
3/16. So
yeah. Take a little bit off.
it's tough not to make a mess. As long as you get to it the next day.
Yeah,
you
so
have a lot more success in cleaning off any deficiencies in the mortar.
So I have had Kirk actually set one of these one time, and he did what we're doing here, and I came back, after the job, was pretty much done. I think we were trimming everything out. Last thing I went to do is pull the grate up, and it wouldn't come out. You see how we thinsetted this in? Well, we waited a week and a half. The thinset had fully cured. We went to pull it up. We could not get it out. We basically had to rip out the grate. It bent the whole thing because we had to pry it up. It bent this whole thing up, so we had to buy a whole new tileable grate and redo it. So if you can get on it the next day, again, if any thinset kind of smashed in between the grate and the channel, tomorrow if we get in here, we'll be able to pull this up, clean it out, pack any more mud in that we need to, and set it back down. want to be a little bit low, if anything. And so what I'm going to do now that I got the height right, I'm going to take the whole thing out again and look at where I'm at. So you can see how much thinset I have hanging over. Definitely don't want that. But you also don't want the voids. And again, tomorrow, I'm going to try this left-handed here. Tomorrow I could do this, but it's looking like I can do it today, so I'll do it.
Isaac's a fan of the thinset void filler, but I've also used grout day of.
Yeah.
That channel out, and then I've actually used grout for the whole 360 side, all 360 side of this channel body.
Yeah, so what Steve was saying is that instead of packing thinset in there now while it's wet, he would, on the day that he grouts, he would come in and he would just pack this all with grout. And it's probably actually a better finish though then, right? And then the color is matching. So maybe we'll do that. I'm gonna follow Steve's lead on that.
So I'll deal with it tomorrow.
Steve will deal with it tomorrow. But for the viewers out there, I kind of wanted to show what we're doing here.
That looks like good coverage there.
So I'm going to show you what the other side looks like. Oh, this thing's heavy and awkward. So there's the cantilevered side. And again, we got too much thinset on this side. So I'm going to take that out. Again, I don't want it sticking. It'd probably be best to rest this on something, huh? But that would be hard to do too. So I'm cleaning this out, and then before I set it back in, I am going to clean out the rest of the channel body.
Hello.
Hi, Janice.
Are you gonna have to golf through this or anything?
I don't think so. Okay. So yeah, I pulled the keep a sponge and keep this clean. Again, you're going to think that it doesn't really matter, but the customer is going to be pulling this out quite a bit. And so you want this to look clean, finished, full coverage between the tile and the grate, and keep this channel clean. You don't want gobs of thinset in this nice stainless steel channel. So I'm going to put it back in. And I could have done that more gently, but yeah, that looks really nice. I like the height, it's flush. I got my other cut here, so I'm going to do the same thing. It's like peanut butter on a celery stick, right?
Practicing your whole life for this.
Yep.
More like cream cheese.
Yeah, cream cheese on a celery stick. I don't know, you might be able to use a notch trowel, but I've never done it that way. I always use my margin trowel. If you're thinking about doing tile, this is going to be one of the first tools you get. It's called a margin trowel. We use it every time we install tile. Okay. So let me see where we end up with this. Okay, now I think I'm a little wet here. Let me see this over. So yeah, we want this 3/16 gap. if we can. Let's get this guy down. So I'm going to pull up one more time, just to check that I'm not making a mess under the grate, and it's nice and clean. You can see how clean it is under there. And so what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to pack this in tomorrow and let this cure like that. So when you go to drop them in, you can take the key and use that to help lower it into place.
I'll even use the key to push down the rubber grommets.
Okay, yeah, I'll cover that when we... So that's in a really nice position. You could put spacers in if you want, but I don't really think that's necessary. Give my... So this is going to get grouted, obviously. This will be grouted. This will be grouted. All of this is going to stay open. That's pretty much the finish you get with that one. So we'll do the same thing to this one, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, so we got everything grouted in here and the floor grouted up really nice. So I wanted to show how we finish out the line drains here. So, like I talked about earlier, I like to grout in between the tile and the stainless grate. We like to do a nice full grout joint so that we don't have any air pockets under here to get nasty. So you can see, and it also supports it. This is cantilevered over, so it provides support right here, and also fills in so you don't get any voids where mildew, nasty stuff is going to grow. This will want to be cleaned up a little bit here. Get that grout haze off of there. So yeah, that's how we do that. We did that to both of them. You can see we grouted in really nicely along here too to get any voids out. This is sealed up real nice in here. So you'd want to grout in here, grout up against here, and make sure this is all sealed really well, because this is going to get a ton of water pouring down. And so when I put these back in, you want to be careful with these. With exposed edges, be really careful when you take them out and you're handling them, because it's real easy, because you're going to need to get in here and take this little hair catcher out and clean everything out every once in a while. So when you do take these out, or if you have a house cleaner that is dealing with this, make sure they're very careful. You don't want to set it right down on other tile. Maybe put down a rag, like if you're going to clean it, put down a rag first and then set it, because porcelain tile chips really easily if you hit it like this on another porcelain tile. And I've seen these get banged up quite a bit. The ones at my house too have, they've been banged up and have some chips. But yeah, be really careful. And then when you set them back in, I usually set 1 inch down, and then you use your drain key to help lower it back in place instead of slamming everything. Grout joint lines up real nice there and looks really good. So that's the line drain installation for for doing a tileable grate. It's real clean, seamless look. Just looks like an extension of the floor here, and everything's gonna drain really good. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to click like and subscribe. Watch the next videos coming up. That's the playlist showing how we got up to this point. It shows everything from our demo to our layout to our waterproofing, installing the flanges and everything. So watch that video coming up. Last but not least, I love you guys. I love being your tile coach, and we'll see you on the next video.